What's up, video creators? Welcome back to the Video Creator Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about who are the biggest earners on YouTube and how do they do it. So if you're kind of curious about how much money you can actually make on YouTube, we're going to be revealing that today. It's a Forbes article that we read and took a look at. And so it's a legit source where they did their research and, watched interviews and looked at other little analytical tools. So it's pretty interesting to find out that some YouTubers are making well over $30 million a year. So it's pretty crazy. And the other day I actually heard that pretty soon there's going to be YouTubers that become the first billionaire YouTube. So we're going to cover all that in today's episode. So go ahead and stick around and let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. All right, so we're going to start kind of at the bottom of the list and work our way up. The first person on the list today is Preston Arcement. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. It might be like Arcement. I recognize his face. I've seen this guy before on YouTube, but I've never really dove into his content too much. Grant, have you ever seen that guy before?
I actually have not, so I'm curious what you got to say about him.
Yeah, so he reportedly from this article, he made in 2021, he made $16 million, which is crazy. He runs several different YouTube channels, but his main one is called Preston Plays. And, if you wonder, how does this guy get so many views? Well, he plays video games. He's in the video game niche. And the way he does it is through Minecraft, right? Minecraft is like the gold mine, I feel like, on YouTube, because so many people just play Minecraft. I heard a teenager the other day saying, hey, Minecraft is like Tetris of our generation. And I'm like, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's kind of like a timeless thing. Grant, did you ever play Minecraft in your days?
Oh yeah, totally. The whole Minecraft is Tetris metaphor kind of makes sense to me, though I feel Minecraft is a much bigger deal than Tetris is. I mean, Tetris was huge worldwide, don't get me wrong, I'm not underplaying Tetris, but I'd have to see the numbers, but I feel like Minecraft is it's like Tetris 2.0 in terms of cultural influence. There's people who have Minecraft-themed weddings. I mean, it's crazy out there. So, yeah, the Preston Plays making a living off Minecraft, and not just a living, millions. It's a phenomenon. It's worthy of riding, and he's riding it well.
Yeah, and I think if you're gonna create a channel or a video game channel, and you want to niche down to start, right? Maybe just choose one game, kind of dive deep into it, and that's kind of what he's done. And Minecraft is a great one to do that in because it's endless. It's like an endless world where you can do whatever you want. And I think on this article it mentions that he built a playable Minecraft version of the challenges from Squid Game. So that was probably some of his videos did very well when Squid Game was coming out. You can ride these trends right with Minecraft. So props to him. That's a lot of money. I'm not sure exactly what all of his sources are of income. But this is not just from YouTube ads. This is from brand deals. This is from other stuff like that.
He definitely has merch. I'm seeing
merch.
Firemerch.com.
There you go. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's well done merch, I would say. It's not really my style, but it looks like it's well done. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to go on some website and throw a logo on a t-shirt and call it good. Like he's actually probably has somebody helping him design these. It looks good. What do you think, Grant?
Yeah, it looks sick. I think it's awesome. It's really vibrant. It's got a lively feel. It looks sleek, clean. Maybe sleek is the wrong word, but it's clean for sure. I'm a fan. He's doing it right. Merch is always the best way to make money if you have a large audience, or just selling a product directly to your audience in general. I guess it doesn't have to be merchandise per se. It could be, you start a coffee company like Jacksepticeye, and you sell your coffee. And if it's something that your audience would like and it's not too unrelated, then yeah, do it. That's the best way to make money. But I think you're right. Sponsorships are huge for him. I'm sure his YouTube ads still pay insanely well. Like he's probably still making, I don't know, like 20K a month at least off ads. It's hard to say. I'd have to look at his Social Blade.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely making great money off his ads too. his kid friendly kind of content. So props to him. We got a lot to go through here, so I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the next one, who is no other than Logan Paul. He's here at number 9. And reportedly, Logan Paul made $18 million in 2021. And that guy is probably one of the ones that's on his way to being a billionaire, although he's kind of low on this list. This is 2021. Recently, he's partnered up with someone named KSI, who's kind of like England's biggest YouTuber. And they've come out with a drink called Prime. So Logan Paul has a drink called Prime. It's like a vitamin water kind of type drink. And on one of his podcasts, he mentioned that he had sold, I want to say, 10 million units in the first week or something like that. It was like, it just blew up. And so, what happens with those type of companies a lot of times is he'll grow it to, $100 million in revenue, and then he'll sell it. Gatorade will buy it, or, Red Bull will come in and buy it and buy it for billions of dollars. So Logan Paul to me is like a super savvy businessman, and not just a YouTuber. He's a guy that came from Vine. I mean, everybody knows who Logan Paul is, but his actual YouTube channel, it's not his main thing anymore. He actually has a podcast now called Impulsive. He's kind of moving into that Joe Rogan type, kind of role, or that's kind of what he's going after now. Have you seen that Impulsive podcast before, Grant?
Yeah, it's a great podcast. He does well. Like he does it with 2 of his buddies and business partners, and they have great camaraderie and chemistry. I think he was smart to do the podcast with other people that he obviously vibes with and trusts, and they make great entertainment together. They also it's clear they have a real friendship outside the podcast. It's not like they just sit down once a week and record videos. They travel the world together and do all kinds of crazy fun stuff together, and there's a lot of real bonding, I think, that goes on between them. I'm really happy with how Logan Paul has managed everything. I feel like he kept his personal life intact and kept it healthy and thriving, and that's kind of allowed him to sidestep a lot of these controversies, and not even sidestep. I feel like once he kind of wrapped his head around what happened, he was able to come back from that and kind of understand what happened, and keep his friends and family close. And I mean, he built this podcast now because he connected with people. So good on him. I think that's awesome. But going back to his business side of things, he's always doing new weird things. I know he had a Pokemon card stint. He actually just released a video 2 weeks ago about Pokemon cards. But there was the whole thing where he got scammed out of like $3 million in Pokemon cards or something. So there's clearly a risk here, which is kind of what we're talking about on this particular episode today, of like what risks are worth taking, what risks have YouTubers taken, and how did that work out for them. So clearly the Pokemon card thing, overall he probably hasn't lost money, just with the amount of revenue he gets and the amount of attention it got him. Maybe it's been a bit of a wash, or at least it will be in the long run. I'm certainly not recommending anybody spend $3 million on a box of Pokemon cards. But clearly there was an audience for it, and they were entertaining. It was also kind of a weird, unpredictable move on his part. I think he's done a good job, whether it's boxing with KSI or doing a podcast or Pokemon cards or whatever, of really mixing it up and not letting things get stale. He could have just gone back to vlogging full time, and that would have probably done pretty well for him, but the way he's managed to diversify, I think, really speaks to why he's doing so well. So maybe that's the word of the day, is diversification, doing all kinds of things and not letting your content get stale.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, his story, like I said, he came from Vine. So, Vine is kind of like the first version of TikTok in a way. It's, it was short 7-second videos, and Vine went away, right? It's just like Vine, I don't know what happened, but they all of a sudden, I don't know if they got bought out or they just canceled Vine. So, him and like his brother, Jake Paul, they were big on Vine, and they made a smart move. They kind of parlayed over to YouTube. They kind of tried to bring their audience over to YouTube. And I remember when he first kind of transitioned over to YouTube, he was creating vlogs, and I'd watch them. I was into them. I mean, I don't know, they're a little bit weird. Like, you know, he would just try to keep your attention so much. He would just smash a plate when things started to get boring in his vlogs. But he would vlog like every single day.
Yeah, which a lot of dedication. That's one thing a lot of at least vlogging YouTubers have. I don't know if recommended is the right word, but Casey Neistat did that too, making a video a day. You know, is that something that somebody listening to this should do? Maybe. I think if you make a lot of videos, then you will get better really fast. There's also something to be said for quantity. You know, when you make a ton of videos, you're going to infiltrate the system, and you are going to be more likely to take off. But yeah, Logan Paul and Casey Neistat are clearly dedicated guys. I don't know if it's realistic for most people to make a video a day, at least when starting out or early on. But, you know, I guess when you're Logan Paul or Casey Neistat, they kind of already had... They built an audience, I think, before they went to once a day. And there was a certain amount of incentive that made it worth it to do that. You know, when people are starting a YouTube channel, I always recommend not to start slow, necessarily. You want to start a channel with multiple videos, but I don't take on more than you actually can. That's how you go crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to ramp up than to ramp down, right? If you're telling your audience, hey, I'm releasing twice a week, and then, you know, all of a sudden you want to release 3 a week, great. That's not going to hurt you, right? If all of a sudden you're saying, oh, I'm going to release 7 days a week, here we go, hold me accountable, I got this. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, you know, it kind of makes you look bad in a way. It's easier to, you know, in basketball, it's always like, it's easier to like promote a kid than it is to cut a kid, right? So start with kind of maybe the lower expectations, then build up. But okay, that's Logan Paul. He, you know, and other little things he's done too, right? NFTs he's gotten into. He went and traveled around the world. He took photos with a Polaroid camera, turned them all into NFTs and sold them just through his audience. And I think kind of the lesson to be learned here with Logan Paul is build an audience. Once you have an audience, then there's all kinds of opportunities that come up, and not just brand deals and sponsorships, but like opportunities to create little, you know, NFTs and sell them to your audience. People will actually give you money. You know, he created a really good merch line too with Maverick. It's a clothing brand that he started. It's basically a merch line. And so, you know, if you're thinking, should I start a YouTube channel? Should I start creating content? The answer is yes. And the reason is so you can build that audience. And all right, let's go ahead and keep this thing going, because the next on the list is no other than Dude Perfect. Right, Dude Perfect. They are a trick shot channel, an OG trick shot channel from back in the day. The very first trick shot video they made was in their backyard. It's just a bunch of friends, and it was just like a typical trick shot video. Them shooting from one side of the lawn to the other side of the lawn, making jumpers and hitting bank shots off the roof. And now they have like this big facility where they have do all kinds of crazy trick shots. They kind of started this genre, right? This is a genre on YouTube and social media in general where people create trick shots. And it's not just basketball trick shots. I mean, we're watching right now, if you're listening, you can't see it, but Grant's sharing like some river rafting trick shot stuff. And Dude Perfect has just built a huge brand. They brought in 2021, $20 million. And the lesson to be learned kind of from them is like, entertainment, man. This is some entertaining content that they're creating. And Grant, what do you got to say? Anything about Dude Perfect?
I mean, if you can do something weird and spectacular like trick shots, you know, I know they started smaller. They weren't always building complicated rafts. Like this looks like a high budget production. But yeah, if there's something, if you're the type of person to just be kind of shooting weird shots in your backyard on your basketball hoop, and that's just your thing, then I mean, hell yeah, make a YouTube channel out of it. That's always what we like to tell people, is if there's something that you do without really trying to do it, you're just kind of drawn to it, chances are that is a good thing to make entertainment out of. Yeah, it's just a weirdly specific idea. I'm impressed he's been able to keep it going for so long, because it just seems so specific, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna make a really difficult shot, but it just keeps going. build a raft battle. And I mean, are all of his videos trick shots, or is it just kind of all in the vein of ridiculous things like a raft battle or whatever?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a group of friends, right? So it's not just one person. And yeah, they really are just all kinds of not just exactly trick shots, but just like amazing feats. But yeah, I mean, they are kind of like trick shots. It's not like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's not just like someone shooting a backward shot or throwing, making a bullseye with their eyes closed. It's stuff like this, raft challenge. Looks like they're doing a race on these rafts, right? So it kind of, this kind of content works kind of like what we talked about last week when we talked about, challenges, right? It's like people want to see a competition. They want to see who wins. They want to see if they made the shot, right? So setting up, a video to say, hey, I'm going to today make the world's longest, I don't know, bullseye, right? And then you have a story behind it, and there's a video there. It's you setting up the bullseye. It's you getting the permits. You bringing out the Guinness Book of World Records guy out to verify it. And then in the end, people are watching to see, does he do it? And, there's some ups and some downs. And in the end, you succeed. That's going to keep people's attention and get you that watch time. And I think that's kind of like what Dude Perfect is playing on here. Grant's sharing a video of them at in a giant football stadium, like an NFL stadium. But yeah, like I said, they have
longest T-shirt launch.
Yeah, there you go. Like, so it's not exactly a trick shot, but it's a Guinness Book World Record type thing. And I like these kind of channels. I think these are great channels because this is something that parents will let their kids watch, right? And I'm not sure about all the ways they monetize. I know they have great brand deals, they have great sponsorships, all that kind of stuff. But they also tour, right? And that's one thing that's kind of the newest thing that YouTubers are starting to do is they will tour around the country, and people will come to see Dude Perfect and buy these expensive tickets, almost like a rock star, right? Almost like a band, and they can make a lot of money doing that as well. So it's, like I said, it's the audience, right? You build that audience, and then the monetization methods, they will come. They'll be there. So anything else on that one, Grant, or should we move on?
I'm down to move on.
Okay, sounds good. And yeah, on this Forbes article, just the last thing about Dude Perfect, it says, seeing them up close and personal, the group will do their third live tour this summer in 24 cities. And for the bravest of heart at home, Dude Perfect last year published 101 tricks, tips, and cool stuff, a 250-page photo-filled complete step-by-step instructions on like how to do trick shots and stuff. So they have books, right? They're doing this 24-city tour. It's the third time they've done it. So that's pretty cool. So the next one on the list is Ryan Kaji, and I might be butchering that last name. This is the Ryan's Toys kid. And Ryan's Toys, he was the one who kind of held the top spot on the top earner on YouTube for many years. It was reported here that he made $27 million in 2021. And he started on YouTube at the age of 4, just doing toy reviews. And he grew his channel, his parents, right, and him, grew his channel very big. And I just remember, this is years ago, just looking online and reading articles like, who is this Ryan kid? The top earner in 2010 on YouTube with blank millions of dollars. And I was like, man, I'm going to start a toy review channel. I remember at the time thinking that. And at VidChops, we actually had a few toy review clients where we edited their videos, and they were toy reviews. And it was basically just very rich parents who would buy their kids all these toys, pay for us to edit the videos. And yeah, they created some pretty good content. I don't know if any of them ever blew up or not, but yeah. Have you ever heard of Ryan's Toys?
Yeah, it was hard not to hear about him, at least a while ago. The hype around him seems to have died, or not died, but, I mean, looking at the channel here, I can share it. These videos are still doing quite well. Still getting hundreds of thousands of views and releasing several days a week. This is still a huge moneymaker for real. And these thumbnails are amazing. They're very colorful, and they know what they're doing. over at now it's Ryan's World. I guess they changed the name. So, yeah, I think it's always interesting to see what happens with channels like this who achieve such a massive, ridiculous peak. I'm guessing this channel was also hit pretty hard by COPPA, which was the whole, basically, the government cracking down on YouTube putting out content to kids. Now you can't even monetize a channel that is made for kids, at least with YouTube ads. So I'm sure there's other ways to make money, but I'm sure that also affected their audience as well. So, I mean, yeah, like comments are turned off on presumably all their videos. I'm pretty sure all kids' videos comments are turned off. Is that correct?
I don't know if that's correct. No, I don't think so. Maybe on this channel because it is like a 9-year-old kid or whatever, and you know how the YouTube comments are.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that the parents made that call eventually, but I don't think so. But you are right about the COPPA thing, and it's that I hate that. I really understand it because they know that other children are watching these videos, and they don't just want to let Budweiser advertise on these videos and put maybe inappropriate things in front of children. But I just feel bad for all the kids channels. I mean, these guys are obviously doing well. $27 million reported, but I do know of smaller kids channels that kind of got shut down. Like they kind of gave up. They were like, well, there it goes. 6 years of hard work. We were finally at 200,000 subscribers. Now we can't monetize. We've gone from making $14,000 a month to, I'm not sure if it's zero, if they don't earn anything, but it might be. But yeah, to earning practically nothing. And how discouraging is that? I mean, that just goes to show you that we always talk about YouTube and growing on social media, but the really only surefire way is a website. And because these social media platforms, they can change their rules at any day. I mean, I remember when Facebook fan pages used to be able to post on there and get people to watch a YouTube video and share a YouTube video and people would watch it. Now it's like they changed their algorithm. If you post a YouTube video on Facebook, you'll have zero reach basically, meaning if you have 1,000 followers on your Facebook fan page, you post a YouTube video on there, it'll only pop up in the timeline of maybe one person, out of 1,000, and that's actually pretty high. It's more like zero.
So that's
yeah.
If you link to a video that's on YouTube.
Yeah, and even if you do it on your personal Facebook, if you share a YouTube video, you'll see why is nobody liking this post? Everyone, normally I get 50 likes on a post normally. You'll get 1 like, and it's because that's due to the competition between YouTube and Facebook. The fan page thing in general now gives you no reach no matter what you post. So that's because they want you to use their advertising platform, right? They want you to pay for the clicks, not grow the organic following. Because when I started my YouTube channel, what I would do is I would buy shout outs from these fan pages, right? I had a basketball training channel. So I'd go to a basketball fan page called Basketball Above All, right? There's 1 million followers. And I'd say, hey, for $100, will you share this new YouTube video? And they would do it, and it would equal 1,000 views. Once they changed that algorithm, then that no longer helped at all. So anyways, the point of the story is, you don't own YouTube, you don't own Facebook. So, in the end, the algorithm could change, the rules could change. And so, you definitely want to, my advice is to build an email list, right? Drive them off of YouTube to your website, enter their email. Now you got them, you own the traffic, then you own the audience through an email list. But all right, let's keep this going. That's Ryan's Toys or Ryan's World. They changed the name because they probably got sick of reviewing toys. And the next one is also a kids channel called Nastya. Nastya. This is a young Russian girl who made $28 million in 2021, which is insane. I'll just do a quick little read of this. It says, Nastya also did a Spotter deal last year, selling the monetization rights to her old YouTube videos to Spotter for cash upfront while retaining the rights to any new videos she puts up. So she gave all the monetization rights to a company for her older videos, which is crazy, for an upfront fee. So that's why she probably made 28 million. Maybe she made a couple million off that, but all her new videos she's owning the rights to. This is a 7-year-old who immigrated from Russia with her parents, and she's got 87.5 million subscribers, where she chronicles her life in prosaic installments. Not sure what that one means. But it looks like she and her corporate minders have been busily adding other brand extensions, including merchandise and an NFT collection. And these kids channels, they do crazy views, right? I mean, right now I have 2 babies. I have a 2-year-old and I have a 9-month-old, and we let them watch YouTube, these kids channels that help educate them. And sometimes, like when they're sick or when mom and dad are exhausted, we'll just put that thing on repeat and just rack those views up. And I'm like, man, this channel right here just got like 100 views off us this week. And these kids channels, they do well. They do rack up the views, and you can look at them and you're like, sometimes like, whoa. On Social Blade, you're like, whoa, this channel is getting 200 million views, and it's because those reasons. People are using YouTube with their kids. So what last thing I'll mention about this channel is I'm looking at this video is she's using a green screen. So that's a great tip, I think, is for kids channels, is you can like put a kid in front of a green screen, have them create their video, and then kind of the editors and the parents and everything can do all the work, with the animations and all that kind of stuff. So you ever heard of this channel or anything about this, Grant?
Not this one in particular. I don't have any kids yet, so I am not super privy to children's YouTube. I was curious, so like, yeah, I know you said you thought COPPA and YouTube making it really hard to monetize kids' channels, like that disappointed you. So as somebody with kids, did you ever feel like YouTube was not like dangerous for them, but maybe they could watch things that were a bad influence or were weird? There was the whole Spider-Man and Elsa incident where people would dress up like Spider-Man and Elsa or various Disney characters and just do weird things. I mean, it didn't even matter what they were doing. They'd like hump each other or it was horrible. And babies were watching this like by the billions, literally by the billions. Like, yeah, what was your experience with children's YouTube and all the weirdness there?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, those weird Spider-Man videos. I've ran across those before back in the day. But for me as a parent, I don't worry about that because I would just monitor it, right? If it got too bad, I would just say, okay, no more. And that's kind of what I wish YouTube would have done. And I guess the government is also one of the ones that would have forced it. But why not let the parents decide? Why not let the parents say, okay, look, we don't like the ads that are being shown on these videos. Like, we're gonna not let them watch YouTube. Like that's kind of the way I mean, I'm from the creator side, right? I'm on the creator side, obviously. But yeah, that's not something I would worry about. I'd be like, oh no, there's a Budweiser ad on this video. Okay, you're not watching, this channel anymore. Or we're gonna leave a comment and say, hey, we wish you would, remove this advertiser. There was different ways around it, at least.
I got you. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Because, yeah, I don't think when all that was happening, I really knew anybody who had kids, or I wasn't, like, super close to them. Because, yeah, from my end, it was just kind of scary. Like, is this going to affect my content? Like, am I going to get screwed? And it turns out the way they did it, it didn't really affect me or Treesicle, though it's hard to say. Always hard to say with these things. Like, that was a massive shift on the platform. I do respect that they were trying to protect the children from seeing weird things, and people were for sure exploiting it. I don't know. It was kind of a weird section of YouTube history, but fascinating nonetheless.
Yeah, and those channels that create kids content, and kind of what we're talking about here is when you upload a video to YouTube, it's going to ask you, is this video made for kids? And if you say yes, and I've done this on mistake on accident, because I was like, oh yeah, I love if kids watch my basketball videos, then you will not make any, that will not be monetized. That video will not be monetized if you click yes. So I don't know if there's a way, like if you do have a kids channel, if it says, is this made for kids? If you say no, where you can still earn, that's a great question. I mean, I think we should look that up someday. To say like, hey, no, I'm just going to say no on every video. They'll put some ads on there, or if that'll get you banned or whatnot. But yeah,
we'll make an episode about that. How to monetize a kid's channel. We're gonna sell kids whatever, Cheez-Its, Cheetos, all the healthy stuff.
Yeah, one thing I'll say too is like with my kids, they're learning a lot from this one specific channel we were watching called Songs for Littles. It's from some lady named Rachel, and my wife is a teacher, and she's like, oh, I can tell this lady's a preschool teacher or something because she knows what she's doing. She's using these techniques. My son actually learned sign language through that, and just some basic signs, and yeah, these videos are really good. And she's got like I think 60 videos, and in 2 years, I can't remember how many subscribers and stuff. She's killing it. She's got so many views and so many subscribers. And anyways, just what I was gonna say was, for me growing up, I didn't have YouTube as a kid. So I was watching Sesame Street, right? I was learning from, I don't know, Barney, like these other shows. And now kids are just watching these YouTube videos, and I appreciate them because I do feel like some of them, there's some good ones, right? Like Coco Melon's a little bit kind of like crack for kids. If you ever heard of Coco Melon, like when we want oh, you want a treat? We'll put on Coco Melon, and my son will be like, bus. So like, oh yeah, we'll put on the wheels on the bus. But if we want to be like more educational, we put on the Rachel one. So that's that. Let's keep this list moving. Number 5 on the list is a channel called Unspeakable, which is pretty much the only one. Maybe there's 1 or 2 on this list that I hadn't heard of before. But Unspeakable earned $28.5 million. Unspeakable can't shut up about Minecraft, the pixelated video game that's now a childhood staple. Over 20 million people subscribe to his 4 YouTube channels, where he posts videos of himself playing Minecraft and other games. In other clips, he does things like fill a room with live alligators. He's born in Houston. His name is Nathan Graham. He's posted steadily on YouTube for over a decade now. Last year, he sold off his catalog of YouTube videos to Spotter as well. So this name Spotter keeps popping up. It looks like they're buying up YouTube channels. Let's see. Yeah, so that's another thing too. If you build up a big enough YouTube channel, you can actually make an exit. An exit meaning you can get acquired, meaning you can get purchased. And some people are making big money. I've heard of like Instagram theme pages getting purchased for like 50 million or like $100 million. And who purchases them? Well, it's like these marketing agencies and stuff that want, to build their audience. And YouTube's a great thing to purchase because you make that ad revenue. And I'm looking at this video that Grant's sharing right now on the screen. Very Mr. Beast-like from what I'm seeing. But yeah, it looks like some really good content, a lot of cuts, quick action, that kind of stuff. Have you heard of this guy before, Grant?
I have heard of him. I guess I didn't realize how big he was. It's like you hear a name and you don't necessarily attach it to a face. Yeah, the fact he has so many channels and he's really spread between video games and real life stuff. I think comparing him to Mr. Beast is definitely fair. I know Mr. Beast has his own gaming channel as well. And yeah, the Unspeakable, they've got all kinds of monetizing. My God. I'm like trying to watch this video and talk at the same time. He's got a lot of ways he's monetizing. Like getting acquired, selling merch. It's all the basic stuff that he's been able to acquire an audience with this really catchy, interesting content. And he's hitting it hard. Like, he could retire now if he wanted to, but clearly he's got a lot going for him, so why stop?
Yeah, and kind of one of the most interesting ways that he's monetized that I'm reading here is that it says, in October, they satisfied a longtime fan request to drop their family-friendly act in hosting a 2-hour R-rated live stream in an event to which they sold 70,000 tickets for about $50 a pop.
Oh
70,000, yeah. So, and I think that's an interesting tactic, right? You make family-friendly content. Maybe you walk the line a little bit, but then you say, hey, we're dropping a live stream. This is rated R. This is what you guys have been waiting for, and it's $50 to watch. Sold 70,000 tickets. Have you ever heard of something like that? That's crazy.
That is the first time I've heard of anything like that. Especially, that seems like a bold move, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'm sure at least one manager of theirs was like, don't do it, please. They pivoted well, though. It's also possible that, when they first started these channels, that it made sense to do more family-friendly stuff, and then kind of as their audience grew up, then it just wasn't necessary anymore, and actually was a good move to pivot and kind of embrace their more realistic side.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people don't talk about enough is like, a lot of creators, right? They've been doing it 10 years or like, they've been doing it a long time. And, for me in basketball too, I'm like, my basketball channel, I'm like, dude, these kids that like started watching my videos when I started, like they're out of high school. Like they're like, maybe I should create coaching content, or maybe I should create like college, how to go to class content, because these kids are probably not even playing basketball like that anymore, And so for him, like you said, and it says here 10 years on the platform, if you're a 15 or 14-year-old kid, you're 25 years old. But, by the time he's coming out with this rated R one, so maybe it works. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty easy way to get canceled as well, right? And like you said, they're probably, his manager was probably, don't do it.
They were smart to put it behind a paywall like that. I mean, $50, like your average 13-year-old or whatever just doesn't have $50, and they'd have to ask their parents to do it. So that put a lot of safety in what they were doing. So and then, I mean, you're selling tickets up front. They made bank. No need to rely on like donations or super chats or bits or whatever. It's just money up front, pay-per-view, bam.
Yeah, and I don't see why more creators don't do that. Why don't they? Not a lot of them do create the course, like it's more business content, right? You'll create the course, you sell the course. Like for my channel, Baller Bootcamp, that's what we did. We meaning me, sold courses, more premium content. But I don't understand why they don't just create more live stream premium content that you have to pay for. I think that's just a no-brainer. Or creating a series on YouTube, right? You create a series and then the finale you pay for. I think that's fair. I think to create like a really good, like last week we talked about Ryan Traham, how he did the 30-day challenge where he converted a penny into whatever, I don't know, every day he was gonna double his money basically and travel all the way to North Carolina from LA. Why not the very last video put up the paywall? Ask people to pay, and you can do a low amount, like you don't have to screw everybody over and do $50. It could be, literally $1. And you could, I mean, there's a chance you could get 1 million people to pay $1 at the rate he was going, make $1 million. He, whatever. I mean, it's just an idea. And I think, if you're a creator looking to monetize your channel in other ways, something to consider. This guy did it, 70,000 tickets sold. That's $3.5 million. Let's go ahead and move on to number 4, Rhett and Link. They have a show called Good Mythical Morning. And these guys, if we want to talk about OGs, if you want to talk about Grant Baldwin lookalikes, if you want to talk about just great content and some people that have been around on the platform, they're some of the originals. That's these guys. So Grant, I'll let you go ahead and just talk a little bit about Good Mythical Morning. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a show with two dudes who clearly have been friends forever, and they'll do funny things like I don't know, just weird taste tests or eating a brownie sandwich, or it's a fun silly show, and they just kind of talk. It's not like a serious topic show. It's very much in the vein of entertainment. Like right now I'm looking at a video called lasagna brownie. So they made a lasagna brownie, and they're eating it, and just kind of all the weird faces and banter you would expect to ensue from consuming such a thing is exactly what this video is. And this is kind of what they've done forever, videos in this vein, and they've managed to keep it fresh. I am honestly very impressed. They post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so they're keeping up a really rigid, pretty intense schedule. I'm sure they just sit down, film, and then have editors deal with everything. I'm sure they just kind of show up, are able to host, and then manage the channel loosely from there, just based on the way this is filmed. I'm sure they don't do their own editing anymore. And also the editing seems very simple, like it's just two guys sitting in front of a camera. They only have one camera angle. I think it's very practical to get 3 videos out a week, as long as they can keep thinking of topics, which, I mean, you know, kid versus adult snack taste test. It's like, you're never going to run out of topics when that's what you're doing. You can do anything. You just eat some silly food and say some silly things, and that's what they do. That's what they're about. They sell merch. They're killing it in every way. I'm impressed.
Yeah, they do create great content, and it says that they earned $30 million in 2021. And I got to apologize. This is the channel that did the R-rated live stream and sold the 70,000 tickets. So yeah. So that makes a little bit more sense to me than the Minecraft channel. Go ahead and drop in an R-rated one, because these guys, although I wouldn't say they create kids content, it's more. I would say it's family friendly, but it's definitely, I enjoy it. I could sit down and watch it when I don't think I could really sit down and watch a Minecraft video at this old age of 36 that I am. But I could definitely put on some Good Mythical Morning and check that out. These guys are pretty entertaining. And yeah, that's interesting, because I do see their audience requesting something more R-rated, because I think these guys have the personality and the kind of the funny humor. The humor to be able to pull off like a more R-rated type thing. I think they could create some good content there. So good for them. Let's keep this going, because I know we want to get to number 1. And number 3 is Markiplier, right? Markiplier is like a commentary type channel. This guy has gone through the gambit on YouTube of quitting and coming back and being depressed and burning out and having fun and making money. And he earned $38 million in 2021. I'll read just kind of a quick blurb here. It says, "Few social media stars can move merch like Markiplier, who saw especially strong sales from the t-shirts, hoodies, and other items tied to his Eunice Honest series. The main reason his earnings have nearly doubled from the previous list." What else? That t-shirt line was a collaboration with a fellow YouTuber, Ethan Nestor Darling, and he ran it on Markiplier's YouTube channel starting in 2019. A year later, Markiplier deliberately deleted all the videos. Next, Markiplier hopes to remake himself as a TV star. In 2021, he filmed a television adaptation of The Edge of Sleep, a post-apocalyptic thriller that he initially dramatized as a podcast in 2019. So yeah, I definitely think that this guy, he's got 31 million subscribers. And it says he first cemented his fame by recording himself playing games like Five Nights at Freddy's, which, is kind of like I said before, you can kind of ride these trends. That was definitely a trending game for a while. Grant, I know you had covered it a little bit. So what are your thoughts about Markiplier? You know who he is, obviously, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's an OG. He's a legend of YouTube gaming, and he, I think, really connects with his audience on an emotional level. Like, he's a very emotional guy, and, if you type in the YouTube search bar Markiplier, the first thing that comes up is crying. Like, this is the type of dude he is. He's very in touch with his emotions. He's comfortable expressing them. And he also plays a lot of horror games and scary games, which I think has been kind of a fun combination, right? You have this guy who is emotional, and something happens in the game, and then he gets scared or whatever. He's always hyped, and but it's not fake sounding, and he has a very beautiful voice. It's very deep, and he's got the announcer voice, and. Yeah, I know he's been through a lot. I think he's been good at keeping his audience up to date on kind of where his mind is at, where his head is at. So, and I know Honest Unis, the channel you mentioned, where he deleted the channel. He did that with another YouTuber. And the idea was they would make videos for a year, one video a day for a year, and then they would delete the channel. So it was a huge spectacle, got a cult following, and grew massively. I don't remember the exact subscriber number, but it was a real phenomenon. And then they deleted it, and it was epic. It was so cool. People were begging them, please don't delete this. Honest Unis is so amazing. It's changed my life, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, we have to go through with it. And they did.
Hmm.
I think that is a ballsy move to stick to your word like that, but also even just to be willing to do that. It's just they put so much time and work into the channel. To me, it's kind of a beautiful thing of doing something for the sake of doing it. I'm sure they made a lot of money, but you know, even still making money, it can be nice to have a channel that's kind of the fruits of your labor that exists out there. You can point to it, look at it. It's cool. It makes me feel good. Just straight up deleting it is, I mean, you're just erasing it. Like, oh, it's a bold move. I respect it.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy, and I think you know, it's kind of controversial, right? In a way, like it's those kind of things work well on YouTube, and controversy does bring eyeballs to your channel. And to bring us to the next kind of person on the list is Jake Paul. Speaking of controversy, who earned $45 million in 2021, and this guy is kind of the king of controversy. He's pretty annoying. Not too many people like him. He was actually got started. His fame started with on Disney. Okay, he was a Disney child actor who then got on Vine, who then got on YouTube, who was a vlogger, and now is in this boxing world. You know, the boxing thing kind of on YouTube, if you don't know the background before, it kind of started by different YouTubers calling out different YouTubers and doing these big events and boxing each other. And a lot of people would come and watch, and they would live stream them and sell live stream tickets and all that kind of stuff. And then these YouTubers like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, who actually kind of are good athletes, you know, started getting these deals where they would box like real athletes. Like the first one was Jake Paul boxing Nate, what's his name? Nate, can't remember his last name now. He's an NBA player who has no business being in the ring.
Nate Robinson?
Yeah, Nate Robinson. And so everyone's, oh, Nate Robinson's going to kill Jake Paul. Jake Paul is just a YouTuber, and Nate Robinson's one of the, you know, a great NBA player. And in the first round, Jake Paul just knocked him out, like in the first, looks like the first minute. And so that was over and people, whoa, okay. You know, and the thing about these Paul brothers is, yeah, they're good athletes. I think Logan Paul was, I think, a college wrestler or a state champion or something in high school. And they actually have a lot of grit. They're pretty gritty. I mean, just the fact that Logan Paul created a video every single day for his vlogging channel, like, shows that they have the work ethic, and you know, they're pretty determined dudes. So you know, they're good boxers now. They put in the work. They became good boxers, and you know, he went from Nate Robinson to Ben Askren, who was a kind of washed up UFC fighter. He knocked him out quick, and then he knocked out another UFC fighter who was not as washed up, and now I think he's on par to box an actual boxer, I think, for the first time coming up. Logan Paul actually even got to box the greatest boxer of all time. I'm blanking on the name right now. It was Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. So I mean, imagine that. Imagine that. That'd be like, you know, a YouTuber getting to play like Michael Jordan one-on-one, like for a YouTube video, and like for crowds to come see or something like that. Totally insane. Logan Paul held his own. He did okay. But yeah, I mean, that's where their money's coming from now, right? These guys are professional boxers, although they're not really professional boxers. They're just kind of like, well, I guess they're professional boxers, but they I don't know. It's a different kind of way that they're going about it. And so that's where they're making a lot of this money. Of course, it says on here that his boxing career in 2021 accounted for 90% of Jake Paul's earnings of the 45 million. Any thoughts, Grant, you want to add here on Jake Paul?
Well, regarding the boxing thing with Logan and Jake, it was ingenious and kind of a weird decision. I mean, these guys are really athletic, so it makes sense for them to do something like that. I think it also speaks to how open-ended YouTube can be and how open-ended success can be, especially once you have an audience. If there's anything that you are good at naturally, so in this case, just being athletic, boxing, whatever, like they wanted to put a lot of time and energy into training at the gym, training in the ring. And that is a totally different type of energy than putting your energy into videos, you know? So this, I think, was it's important to be a balanced person if you're going to make it in the long run. So if you already have an audience and you have something like this that you excel at, it doesn't have to be fighting. It could be as weird as you want. It could be yodeling. You have a yodeling competition with some YouTuber, and then you spend 6 months training with the greatest yodeler who lives in a little shack in the Swiss Alps or something. Just like whatever. You can do whatever you want. If you can find another YouTuber to compete with you doing that thing, then it could be huge. And in this case, they branched out into fighting NBA players, and it doesn't even have to be YouTubers. It can be people who are professionals in whatever weird field you're trying to branch into. So just a reminder, I'd say, to be open-minded and to kind of embrace yourself as a balanced human.
Yeah, and another, I'll reiterate the fact that I said earlier, that it's all about the audience, right? Once you have the audience, the opportunities will be there. All right, the number one earner for 2021, it's kind of no surprise, somebody that, unlike Jake Paul, we all love, and that's Mr. Beast, right? He earned $54 million in 2021. Some things to note about him, though, is that, he actually invests most, if not all of his money back into the YouTube channel. So for 1 month, he might earn, let's just say $10 million. Well, all that means is that he has $10 million to spend the next month on videos. And as he creates new videos, they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. My favorite one recently was the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory one, where he recreated the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory and brought a bunch of people in there to do a bunch of competitions. And he's really just trying to outdo himself. This guy was not an overnight success by any means. One of the hungriest YouTubers I've ever seen back in the day. His first videos, terrible, god-awful, but he was committed. He would do anything to make it, even say Logan Paul's name 100,000 times in a row. Even, he did all kinds of crazy stuff like that to try to make it. And a lot of the stuff he's done too has been like charity stuff, right? He did like the Save the Trees or Plant Trees campaign. He's done a lot of little campaigns to help the environment, so it seems like he's passionate about that. And let's see, one other thing I wanted to mention is that one of the cooler things that he's done business-wise is Beast's Burgers, Mr. Beast Burgers. And what that is he's created a ghost kitchen. If you don't know what a ghost kitchen is, it's where like you sell a meal, right, a type of food, but you don't actually have a physical address. So for example, I could create on, DoorDash, right? On DoorDash, I could create a restaurant called Augie's Burgers, but really I'm just in my kitchen making burgers. I'd hop in my car when someone would buy, I would drive and deliver it to their house. So what he did is I think he leveraged other fast food chains, right? There's a mom and pop burger restaurant in your town. Well, if you log into the app, you might be able to order a Mr. Beast burger from the Mr. Beast app, and they would just drive it. They'd whip it up right at that local spot and drive it over to your house and let you get a burger right there, Mr. Beast burger. So I thought that was really creative and cool. What are some thoughts on Mr. Beast, Grant?
Well, he is not afraid to try new things, and I also wanted to speak about him spending all this money to make these videos. Even the like his early videos where he was really starting to hit his stride, like tipping a pizza guy $10,000. I actually remember him talking about this on a podcast of people saying that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, that will not work. And it sounds like a stupid idea, to be fair. Like, you're gonna make an entire video out of tipping people 10 grand. Like, couldn't you put that money into, I don't know, cameras or microphones or something more, less unusual, and less fleeting? It seems like, you would think just giving someone 10 grand is like, it's a moment, 10 grand for a moment to film.
Yeah.
But he managed to do it. And I think it just speaks to, if you're passionate about an idea, however weird it is, then you can do it. And I do want to say, like, I'm not necessarily recommending people spend their life savings to make some bombastic video. I think Mr. Beast's situation was a little different. I don't know if he still lives with his mom, but I know he's very close with her. So, you know, he didn't have a life full of expenses, as far as I know. So he was able to take all of the money that he was making from YouTube and put it into the next video. And kind of, he kept gambling like this, though I'm sure he didn't think of it as gambling. He was just trying to do the next big crazy fun thing. And he was able to do that without worrying about finances. So, you know, keep in mind your situation. If you're someone who's thinking, oh, maybe I should give a homeless person 10 grand or whatever, you know, one, make sure you got the star factor. Make sure you're editing these videos well. I mean, Mr. Beast's editing is crazy. He talked on a podcast about how his audience retention is about 70%, which, wow, you know, for his videos being, they're usually around, what, 15 to 20 minutes? I think that's fair to say. That's just an insanely good audience retention. And, you know, we can kind of look at his editing. It's very, I mean, he's got these words popping up and animating on the screen as he's saying it, and he's cutting to all these different things. He introduces exactly what the video's about. There's no rambling. There's no wasted time. He just jumps into it, and he's cutting to new angles all the time. I know one strategy of his is, you know, just give everybody a camera, use all the footage. It doesn't matter if it's low quality, high quality, whatever. It's just, let's have all the different angles and let's make it zazzy. Let's make it interesting.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not sure. I think he sells merch. He does all the things that you're supposed to do. His sponsorships have got to be huge. I don't want to guess, but I will guess. I'm over $100,000 to sponsor a Mr. Beast video, maybe even closer to the $1 million range at this point. And a lot of times he uses that money in his video as to give away or whatever. And so, yeah, Mr. Beast was on the Impulsive podcast, the Logan Paul podcast, and they were saying, like, are you a billionaire? Are you a billionaire yet, man? And he was like, no, you know, I reinvest all the money, but I think someday he will be a billionaire, because someday, I don't know, maybe money doesn't matter to him, but he could sell this channel for $1 billion. I'm pretty confident to say that. But who knows? Maybe he never will. I feel like he's a little bit of a different breed than most people. He cares about YouTube on like a higher passion level. Like, it's not about the money and the fame at all for him. It's more about just creating great videos and achieving his goal, which he set out many years ago to actually make it on YouTube. So I don't know. I get kind of sentimental thinking about Mr. Beast, because you know, just nobody's like that, right? Most people are not like that. So it's pretty cool to see. And that's our list, you guys. Those are the top 10 earners of 2021. Grant, is there anything else you want to add?
Just make sure to do whatever the hell you want. That's how you make it on YouTube. Like, if there's anything I learned from this list, it's that anything goes as long as you have the energy and the vision to make it happen. You know, just do it. It's kind of corny. I guess that's the Nike slogan. But just do it. Like, get out there, make your stuff, and make it as best you can, and keep making it. And that's at some point, you will build an audience, and you will have a million ways to monetize. I mean, you know, Mr. Beast has 5 channels. You can have 5 channels. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
All right, that's a good one to end on. You guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. The Video Creator Podcast is brought to you by VidChops.com. That helps you take the burden of editing totally off your hands. So if you want help with your editing, check out VidChops.com. And with that said, we will see you guys in the next episode.